Okay guys, so I do want to just say that people are downstairs. Like I've said before, just in a house like this, it's going to be a lot of noise all the time. But anyway, let's just get right into chapter 12 of Clarice Bean Spells Trouble by Lauren Child. And yeah, so chapter 12 starts on page 121. Sometimes you've just got to sit tight and see what happens. Mrs. Wilburton gives us some homework called My Weekend. She wants us to write about what happened over the weekend. Also, this last one just gone. Carl says he won't do it. Mrs. Wilburton asks, why not? And I remember him on Sunday in the phone booth, and I know this is not something Carl would want to write about. Carl says, because it's my own private business and nobody's going to know my stuff. Mrs. Wilburton says, don't be ridiculous. You will do the writing just like everybody else. Carl says, you can't make me. Mrs. Wilburton says, we'll see about that, Carl Wrenberry. The bell rings and Carl storms out of the room and Mrs. Wilburton shouts after him, I will be calling your mother. Carl shouts back, good luck. Mrs. Wilburton shouts, Carl Wrenberry, you better turn up with your homework tomorrow or you will be in very big trouble, young man. I mean it. And Carl turns around and I see his face, and I do not think I would like to be Miss Wilburton's shoes. I'm going over to Betty's house after school. We are both quite wondering what Carl will do next because we can't help feeling he will definitely do something. I'm not sure if I should do something myself. I know, to stop him. Well, you know, to stop him before he goes too far. But he's not listening to me anymore. When me and Betty get to her house, we run up to the kitchen and make some sandwiches and switch on the TV because Ruby Redford is on. We are watching for detective research, as well as because we are mad about it. The thing I love about Ruby Redford TV series is that it is always exciting and quite impossible how to imagine Ruby will get out of the death-defying situation she is in. And mostly I spend the whole time behind a chair grabbing a cushion, and the strange thing is that however scary or disastrous things get, it's just always so calm and his hair is actually always brushed. Ruby just about always loses her glasses, and Hitch somehow always finds them. In this episode, which is called Can You Hear Me, Clancy Crew? Clancy Crew is bicycling along this road because he has a message from Ruby that says, meet me at the old barn. But the message isn't from Ruby at all. Clancy just thinks it is. In fact, it is from the evil villain Count von Viscount. And Ruby is on the radio controls because she needs to warn him about a dreadful plan that Count von Viscount has got up his sleeve. Ruby is in the walkie-talkie saying, Clarence, do you read me? You are in danger. Turn back. Don't go too far. Over. And Clancy doesn't reply because his walkie-talkie has been blocked by Hogtrotter. And Ruby is getting more desperate and going, Clancy, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Clancy? And it is beginning to dawn on Clancy as he walks into the barn that something is up, that he has lost walkie-talkie contact, and he looks toward the door and says, where are you, Ruby? Where to goodness are you? Ruby says to Hitch, he's not listening to me. He's not listening to me. I just can't get through to him. Why would he turn his walkie-talkie off? You should know that, Hitch. It's one of the rules. Never turn your walkie-talkie off. Hitch looks worried, and one of his eyebrows does this dipping thing. That's how you know when Hitch is worried. And he says, what if he didn't turn his walkie-talkie off? What if someone else did? I'm sorry, I kind of just see him as like a proper British butler, but I also think it's really funny to give him an accent like that. Anyway. And then Hitch looks at Ruby, and Ruby looks at Hitch, and Ruby looks out of the TV screen and says, keep your cool, Clarence. My old friend, don't do anything stupid. Stupid. And Clancy is standing alone in the barn, or at least we think he is alone until we see a shadow of a hand, and Clancy says to himself, oh, Rube, if only you were here, you'd know what to do. And then Hitch looks out of the TV and says, sit tight, kid. We're gonna get you out of there. Sometimes it's Australian. You don't know what Ruby is going to do, but you know she's going to do something. And just know that that's exactly when the episode's going to end, because you're all just completely dying to know what happens next. After the show, Betty Moody is talking about the detective story she wants us to write. I'm still not sure I can, but Betty asks her mom, Moll, what she thinks. Moll writes books for a living. Betty says, Moll, do you think me and Clarice could write a book? Moll says, yes, anyone can write a book. It's writing a good book, that's the trick. Betty says, do you think we could write a good book? Moll says, as long as you have something to say and an interesting way of saying it. Betty says, so that's yes. We have lots of things to say, lots, and Clarice, Bean, and me always find ourselves interesting, so I'm sure other people will too. On my way home, I think about what Moll said about writing, because it's true. I do have things to say, even if nothing exciting does happen in my life. And I think my spelling might be getting better now that I have been doing all this dictionary learning, which I have been doing a lot of, mainly because I do not want to be absolutely embarrassed in front of the whole school during the spelling bee. Ruby Redford always says, if you put your mind to it, you can do anything. That's what I like about Ruby. She has a go at anything at all. She's not scared of trying, and she's brainy, and she's a good runner, and she still looks like a girl, and everything, and is utterly pretty, but she is also the funny one, not like those girls who go into Eggplant and think Kurt is hilarious. If Ruby Redford went into Eggplant, Kurt would be laughing at Ruby's jokes, I bet you. And I'm walking back home, and I have to go past the school, and I'm quite utterly engrossed and completely absorbed in what I'm thinking when I hear a very bewildering noise. A bit like a snake or a sound of hairspray. It's coming from the other side of the school wall. Someone must be in the back playground. But why? And what are they doing? And how did they get there? I will write this information down later because there isn't time to unlock my notebook again, and I don't want to miss this action. I really want to know what it is, so I climb up, wedge my foot on the bit of bricks that are sticking out slightly, and I manage to grab the top of the wall and try to hoist myself up so I can see over, but then my foot slips and I scrape my knee and I panic and let go of my notebook and it falls on the other side. Then when I hear it is nothing, and then something clatters on the ground like a tin can or something tiny or cannish. Then when I hear it is fattish running, so it was definitely not a snake. I look down at my knee and it is almost severed off and really bleeding, and I have to hobble home because I don't have a walkie-talkie to radio for help, and there's no hitch to pick me up in a limousine. And now I will never know who it was or what they were doing, unless I can find some clues tomorrow. But I can't write that down because I no longer have my notebook. That is the end of chapter 12, which ended on page 129, so we'll pick up with chapter 13 on page 130. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you guys grabbed something because I didn't, I'm sure you know how to handle yourselves. Thank you guys for listening. Again, that was Clarice Bean Spells Trouble by Lauren Child, chapter 12. I'll see you guys for the next chapter. Thank you again for joining me, and have fun exploring the world of that books create. Bye.